Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And this time, many people say this is considered a Christmas film. In many ways, it is, and I would call it a Christmas movie basically because it's set around Christmas time. And this is a film that everybody knows, has heard of, and it's considered one of the best action films of all time. And it is still my favorite. It is still my favorite film from Bruce Willis. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, reviewing this one, Die Hard. Love this movie to death. It is considered one of the all-time best action movies. It is. Now I'm only gonna review the first one though because I have other things. I have other things to want to review though. But a little further down though, I will review the sequel. So, but for now, we'll stick with this one because for the Christmas keeping up with the Christmas stuff I'm doing. So, but Die Hard, what more can I say? It is my favorite Bruce Willis movie still. Grew up with it. Love it till to this day. It's a classic, I would say. Pretty much say it's an action masterpiece. I have no problems with this film whatsoever. It is just like so fun, so entertaining. It still is. I don't think there's not one person who I've heard of who does not like this movie. Not that I heard of. And Bruce Willis is John McClane. Spot on, excellent, fantastic. Every positive name of the book. Love the cast. Love the directing, score, setting, everything about this. But it came out in the summer of 1988, and it's directed by John Mctiernan, who the year before this, 87, he would go on to direct Predator. And then after this, he would go on to in 1990 going to direct The Hunt for Red October, and then 95 going to direct the third Die Hard movie with a vengeance. So, and today, John McTiernan, to this day, he's disappeared, never seen or heard from again because the last film he did was Basic, John Travolta. It was like back in the early 2000s. After that, he disappeared, never to be seen or heard from again, sadly. But he left a resume of quite memorable movies like this film, Predator, The Hunt for Red October, Dire of the Vengeance. So it sucks, but he still would have made the best film in his career. And I don't know what more can I say. I'm sure everybody has heard and talked about this movie and knows what the film is getting into. But for just for the first time me reviewing it for my video, so, and for the rest of the cast besides Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, who sadly enough passed away earlier this year. Sucks. It is still my favorite performance from him in this movie. I know a lot of people consider his role as Snape in the Harry Potter films, though, but his breakout role in this film is still one of my favorite performances by Alan Rickman. May he rest in peace. But he also did a lot of quite critical acclaimed films as well. But this has always been my favorite film of his. He was just such a fantastic bad guy and yet memorable as Hans Gruber. Bonnie Bedelia as John McClane's wife, Holly Gennaro. Reginald VelJohnson as Sergeant Al Powell. Always enjoyed Reginald VelJohnson. Paul Gleason as the Chief of Police, Dwayne, who's now passed away as well. But it's such a good cast. Alexander Godunov, mispronounced the name, as Carl, as Hans' lead henchman. Um, this and I don't really what more can I say about it, but when it came out, it performed critically and box office wise. As a 92% Rotten Tomatoes, it deserves. 8.29 to be, it deserves as well. And I know it's based on a novel called Nothing Lasts Forever, and it's a sequel. This was like a sequel to another novel called The Detective, in which later be turned into a film that starred Frank Sinatra. But and also there was a lot of considerable choices to play John McClane. There was a lot of actors who were up on the part to play, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because this was supposed to be the sequel to Commando, really enough, which that would have been kind of quite something, as Schwarzenegger returning as John Matrix. But that didn't happen though, sadly. But and also I guess I was consider Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, Burt Reynolds, Don Johnson, Clint Eastwood. Really enough, there was a lot of considered, and Bruce Willis was like the last choice because they say that he would not have been like a main star because he was starring in this show called Moonlighting, and they thought he would not. The 20th Century Fox said that he would not be a big star in this. Well, they proved wrong. And look what happens. Bruce Willis left a memorable legacy with these Die Hard franchises. He probably wouldn't be like how he is. Well, not. Well, yeah, I would say it probably wouldn't be here like it is today if it wasn't for the Die Hard, for the first Die Hard movie. And which I'm glad for. And Hans Gruber, which I think they originally looked at Sam Neill really enough to play Hans Gruber, which I love Sam Neill though, but it would be kind of weird though to see kind of for how the bag would turn out though. But Alan Rickman is the perfect choice, and it's very well paced. Even though it's over 2 hours, it's still very fast paced. It goes by very quickly. I love the characters, especially because John McClane, Bruce Willis, Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman, Bonnie Bedelia as Polly, Reginald Johnson as Sergeant Al Powell. I always enjoy these characters. So, and the whole. Of course, everyone does not know, but I'm pretty sure everybody does. Bruce Willis is John McClane. He's a New York cop. He's coming to Los Angeles to be with his wife, Holly. And she works for this corporation, which is the Nakatomi Plaza, and which is like a Japanese corporation. And he just arrived for this young limo driver, who was played by a Devereaux White, if I mispronounced the first name. Even the guy who plays the young limo driver as Argyle, I even liked him as well. I thought he did really good. Which I like this character. Which he used to be like really good with the story that he was a cab driver and he got the job for this, and this is his first time doing it. And where he gets locked in the parking garage, and he waits it out until he gets a moment where he knocks out one of the bad guys. So he has his little moments as well, and I like this character. I thought it was also I would say quite a memorable character as well because even though he's in the garage the whole time though, but still at least he does something. And there's even other characters of like later on there's these two agents, Johnson and Johnson, and one was played by Robert Davi. But Okay, so but as I was saying, Bruce Willis, he's a New York cop. He comes to L.A. to be with his wife, and which is the Nakatomi Tower Plaza, whatever. And during this big party that they're having, bad guys come in, led by Hans Gruber, Rickman, which they're not really terrorists, though. Which I think that the director John Mctiernan said they didn't want it to be terrorists, and especially I think they're originally supposed to be like political terrorists, but they're not. So it kind of lightened the tone to be at the end of the day, they're just really robbers. Basically, they're just here to get this $600 million in bearer bonds from this vault. That's what they're really here for. But they kind of make it seem like they're terrorists. Make the police outside make them seem like they're terrorists, but they're not. They're just trying to get into this vault to take money. So, yeah, okay. And when and of course with John McClane, remember when he has like no shoes and he's out without that. It was a clean white tank top, and when it later becomes dirty and all that stuff, and especially has no shoes, and he tells like, "Oh, check the whole turtle and take your shoes off," And when pretty much when the shit hits the fan, basically when the bad guys come in, and for all this movie he's all alone, just slowly take on the bad guys one by one, but throughout this whole time he's getting beaten up, but he still keeps going, and but he's still strong, and even though it shows like that he is concerned and what's going to happen, just he's not the type of how people and how not like a lot of action films they think he's indestructible. He's not. He gets hurt, he gets beaten up pretty bad, and it shows that he cares, but sometimes it shows like there's little moments where he's like tired out, but he still keeps going and he's like scared and stuff like that, and he's just a normal everyday cop though, but he just happens to get caught in the middle of all this stuff. Simple. And like where Moshi tries to get where there's bad guys in the building, like he pulls a fire alarm, but when he sees vehicles coming in, but they just turn around, seeing there's no fire, and when one of the bad guys finds him upstairs, he gets in a tussle, they fall down the stairs, break the guy's neck, and of course you get lots of fun lines of dialogue where when he tries the guy's shoes and it's too small for his feet. He's like, "Well, the first terrorist I kill, and I kill one with feet smaller than my sister." Or before he witnesses the lead the lead boss that his wife works for, because he tell him where the passcode is to the safe, and he's like, "I don't know, you just have to kill me." And Hans, and without blinking, Rickman just says, "Okay," shoots him in the head. Blood splatter on the glass door. It says, "Okay, we'll do it the hard way." So, and so I forget went ahead a little bit, but after he kills one guy, he sends the body down the elevator, and he has like the stuff on here says that Alan Rickman says, "Now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho." So, and then when he tries to he gets up on the roof to get a signal to call the police on, and then that's where he gets some gunfire on the roof, and then you to Reginald VelJohnson, Sergeant Al Powell. He's like at a convenience store buying a bunch of Twinkies for his wife who's pregnant, and he gets a call to check out the building. And he gets to a part where during the gunfight, Bruce Willis he gets into one ventilation shaft, and of course you get another fun lines like, "Come on to the coast, get together, have a few laughs." And then when Sergeant Powell gets there, if he sees that nothing's going on, he's gonna leave. And during another fight with Bruce Willis, he kills one bad guy, and one guy is on top of the table. He's like, "Oh, no table. Next time when you have a chance to kill someone, don't hesitate." And then shoots from below. It's just, thanks for the advice. And then he goes and takes that bite and throws it out and lands on top of Sergeant Powell's car. And it's like, God, Jesus Christ! And he's calling for backup. It's like, I need backup assistance now! No, God damn it, now! And you see the young limo driver. He can't hear anything. You see his the sergeant's car going by, and he's just doing his listen to music and listen to the phone and stuff. And and then you get William Atherton, who plays Richard Thornburg, who's his reporter, who also played oh, I forget what the guy's name from Ghostbusters, where Bill Murray says, "Yeah, this guy has no dick." I forgot that character's name in Ghostbusters though, but that's a William Atherton. He's just this pretty much this douchebag reporter, and he wants to catch the story, but later on to the end of the movie, where Holly goes and gives him a good sucker punch right in the face and says, "Did you get that?" So the police finally arrive, and Hans Gruber, he's like a laid back, smooth bad guy, just talking very casually. He's there's one where he kind of raises his voice, but most of the time he's just like calm and cool. And I just love the conversation when when they first talks with Bruce Willis. You know, him talking about seeing made too many westerns as a child, and like John Wayne, and then Bruce Willis was like, I was kind of partial to Roy Rogers actually. And of course you get the famous line of this whole franchise, like when Alan Rickman says, "Do you really expect the chances against us, Mr. Cowboy? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." That's considered one of the most memorable lines in movie history. One of the best lines, especially for an action film. One of the best lines in film history. Always love it. And then he has and they also get more good when Bruce Willis is talking to Reginald VelJohnson over the walkie-talkies. And Reginald VelJohnson, he's always throughout this whole movie, he's just give him support and wherever he needs it. And tells him how knows that he's a cop. And when Paul Gleason gets there, it's like he tries to explain who this guy who's helping him is like. When Reginald VelJohnson's like, he may be a cop, not LAPD, but he's definitely a badge. Like what? A hunch. Like things he said. Like being able to spot a phony ID. Jesus Christ, pal! He could be a fucking bartender for all we know. So, and then you get the part where the SWAT team tries to go in, and you get like a little funny moment where one of the bad guys, who I recognize, mainly from Big Trouble in Little China, he was one of the bad guys. He was like one of the bad guys, like carries like the one with the long hair or mustache and has that meat cleaver in Big Trouble in Little China. He's one of the bad guys in this. He's like when they're getting ready, positioned to attack the SWAT team. He has a little moment where they don't do it over the top silliness, but just like there's a candy stand right there. He just grabs like a couple, and it has a snack on one of the Crunch bars. And one of the guys, one of the guys who's like the lead tech bad guy, played by who was the guy's name? The character Theo, played by Clarence Gilliard. He's like the guy who's the tech guy who tries to get this stuff to break in the safe, and like he's like looking at the security cameras to see where the SWAT teams are at. He's like, all is calm as it was twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring except the four assholes coming to wherever position from the building. And they don't kill the SWAT team. They just wound them, like shoot them in their legs or whatever. And Bruce Willis knows that plan's not going to work, and they're shooting out the lights. And of course, you get a fight moment where Paul Gleason, like he's pretty much a dummy, because even Sergeant Powell, he's like the smartest cop there, and like he doesn't know, and Dwayne doesn't know, and it's like they're firing the SWAT team, and VelJohnson's like, they're shooting at the lights, and then he goes, and then Paul Gleason goes, they're aiming at the lights, and then Powell's like, that's basically that's what he just said. Shows us how sometimes this deputy chief of police is dumb. I mean, Reginald Johnson is pretty much like a smarter cop than he is, because he knows what they're doing. And then they get to where they get the SWAT vehicle, tries to go through the building, but it doesn't. And this is where they get a bazooka to fire at it, and Alan Rickman's like, hit it again. And Bruce Willis like, Hans, you motherfucker, you made your point. Let him pull back. Thank you, Mr. Cowboy. I'll take that under advisement. Hit it again. And Bruce Willis, he killed some bad guys from earlier. He had took their bag and had some explosives with him, and he's gonna use that. And he ties to a chair with a computer, and then he's like, take this under advisement, jerkweight. And as he gets the elevator open, and he goes, Geronimo, motherfucker! Throws it, and it just blows that whole floor out where those bad guys were with a bazooka. It just blows that whole floor out. Great explosion, and I love his Bruce Willis' reaction when he sees the fire going up the shaft. He's like, "Whoa, shit!" I just love the reaction right there. And when he's talking to Powell again, and then Paul Gleason is like, "Is that him? Listen, Mister, whoever you are, we do not need your help, all right?" And it's like, we got 50 cops down here, and they're covered in glass. Glass? Who gives a shit about glass? Who is this? It's Deputy Chief of Police, Dwayne Robertson. I'm in charge of this situation. Oh, well, I got news for you, Dwayne. From what looks up here, it looks like you ain't in charge of jack shit. It just kind of rips into him and shows what crappy job he's doing. That's just funny. It's always the fun lines of dialogue are just so funny in this movie. And then after that, kind of waiting out again. But this one guy who tries to negotiate with Hans, this guy, one of the other workers. Who was this guy's name? I'm trying to forget who this guy's name is. Name Harry. And tries to make a little persuasion, but it doesn't work. Then Hans Gruber shoots him in the head, and then Hans Gruber's like, "Tell him where my detonators are, or should I shoot another one?" So pretty soon I'll get to someone that you really do care about. And Bruce Willis, John McClane goes, "Go fuck yourself, Hans." And then Hans, he goes and checks where the explosives are, where they has a rigged up near the rooftop, and then Bruce Willis, which at first he didn't know that was Hans talking, and of course when he catches the right away when he uses a false name, gives him a gun, and when tells him when he clicks on, he's like, "Oops, no bullets." How dumb you think I am? And then more bad guys come in. John McClane kills two more, and with Hans and Carl, they're shooting at all the glass on the floor. And Bruce Willis, he has no shoes on. His feet gets cut up really bad, and just was putting excruciating pain, because even find that's kind of cringeworthy because you have no shoes on you. The floor is covered in glass. You have to be forced to get your feet stabbed and cut up like that. But you just feel sorry for John McClane, because he's going through all of this, and he's getting cuts, he's getting cut up, beaten up, and of course at one part he gets shot at. But he's still fighting, tries to save his wife and everybody. And then after that, and you get to a moment where Powell tells where how he doesn't go out much, and that's why he was always behind a desk because when it was late at night, very dark outside, he shot a kid who thought had a toy gun, but it looked to him, it looked like it was like a real gun. So he shot a kid, and that's why he's always behind a desk, because that's why he will never draw his gun out again. And then after that, this is where the FBI comes in. One of them, played by Robert Davi, tells him to tries to cut the power to the building, which says, "Oh, bet those people are those bad guys are crapping their pants right now, or pissing their pants, I forget." But no, they basically just helped them out because it basically helped them open the vault for them. And I like how just when the doors open and just Hans and the other guy, Theo, they're just looking how the door open and the light shows them, and Theo goes, "Merry Christmas," and just all the bail bonds for them. But then John McClane, he goes to see what was Hans up to, and he saw the bombs, and that's when he gets into the fight with Carl. And it's like he's beating him up, and sometimes he's getting beat up, like where Hans gets his gun and shoots him, and he gets shot right in the shoulder. Like I said, he's going through so much, like he's getting beaten up a lot, including getting shot at though, but he still keeps on going. And he's like, "Motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna cook you. I'm gonna fucking eat you." And then he gets the chain around his neck and hurls him, trying to get him to choke out, well, hanged as well. And while the people on the roof and John McClane kills that one guy from Big Trouble in Little China, he tells her, "Where's Holly Janelle?" Because by this point he takes her hostage. Hans has taken her hostage because on TV where William Atherton goes to his house and with John and Holly's kids on TV, and Hans is looking at the TV, he's like telling him to come home, and then of course he picks up the picture that's face down and shows them that they're two married, and of course Mrs. McClane, "How nice to meet your acquaintance," and takes her, and of course when the FBI are on the choppers, they're shooting at McClane because they think he's one of the terrorists. And it's like, "Oh, I'm on your side, you assholes!" And there's everyone running down. And just before, of course, but it's an action movie. It was like, "Oh, it's not real. It's not real." It's like it's an action. It's a fun action film. It's not supposed to be, because when he gets that fire hose, and he jumps off and gets in the slow mo after when Hans pushed the buttons to blow the roof. Yeah, that slow mo. And he shoots out the window to get in, and the helicopter explodes. And then he's almost out of ammunition, except for he has 2 bullets left. And he's like, "Is that what all this is about? Fucking robbery?" And Hans has his wife at gunpoint, and he's like, the line was where, "Still playing the cowboy, but this time that John Wayne does not walk on the sunset with Grace Kelly. It's Gary Cooper, asshole." Enough jokes. You make a pretty good cowboy yourself. Whoa, what was that you said before? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And then John, he's just like this, and he just starts laughing, and he starts laughing, and that other bad guy starts laughing. And of course, he has that score, like the Jingle Bell type of score, and he has his handgun taped behind his back, and he's like, "Holly!" Shoots him, and shoots the other guy in the head, and he says, "Happy trails, Hans." And he falls out the window, but he's still hanging on to Holly's hand, and she's about to shoot, but he lets him go because he was holding on to her watch, and of course to get that memorable slow mo. I would probably say it's like the best falling to your death scenes, especially for the bad guy. I would say it's pretty much that is when you see Hans Gruber has that oh shit look on his face as he's falling, with the score by Michael Kamen. You're like dun dun as he's just slowly falling, and Reginald VelJohnson and Paul Gleason are just looking. It's like, oh, I hope that's not a hostage. And this scene just falls straight down to the ground, and Reginald VelJohnson's like, this is this look when he hears that thud. So, and when everything seems all over, when McClane, Holly, they see Reginald VelJohnson, they both hug it out. Of course, Paul Gleason comes in. He starts blaming McClane for all of this. Like, that guy who got shot from Hans, and then interfering with police work, and he told that Bruce he was about to punch him, but then Carl, who was still alive, he was about to shoot McClane, and then of course you get that memorable shot where I know people will know this, but it shows the gun being shot, and it's Reginald VelJohnson. Everyone knows about this, so but just how the way it was. So first it shows the revolver, and slowly the camera rolls up, and this shows him shooting. So yeah. But yeah, so even though people know that, but I'm saying that's kind of a badass moment right there where Reginald VelJohnson gets to kill Carl. So, and then, but also by that point to where Argyle, the young limo driver, he sees that guy Theo coming out of a big an ambulance out of a truck, and he rams his car into the ambulance, knocks him out, and he gets out of the garage, and says Merry Christmas to them, and then of course where I said before, where Holly punches William Atherton on camera, gives him a good sucker punch right in the face. And it's like, did you get that? And then Argyle says, "If this is how it is for Christmas, I hate to be here for next year, or for New Year's." And it shows them Polly and John kissing, and you heard that song. All the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Yeah. So yeah, I love this film. It's still my favorite film from Bruce Willis. I love The Last Boy Scout, but it's still my favorite film from Bruce Willis. It's definitely one of my favorite action films, and of course, probably for everyone, but it is considered one of the best action films of all time. It deserves that to be called that. I don't know where a film would be like this as of today, or have a legacy like it is today. This is a film this is why I would say I have absolutely no problems with. The cast does a phenomenal job. Bruce Willis is John McClane. I'm glad it was. Yeah, of course, they have all these casting choices, but I'm glad it was Bruce Willis. Otherwise, it would be totally different as it was today if it wasn't for Bruce Willis. Love him as John McClane. Memorable. Well, it will always forever be a memorable character. Love John McClane. Hans Gruber is Alan Rickman. Phenomenal job. May he rest in peace. He will be very well missed. Alan Rickman. It's still my favorite performance from him. Memorable villain. Trying to speak. Memorable villain. Memorable lines of dialogue from between the both of these of John McClane and Hans Gruber. Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Gennaro. She still does a fine job. Love Reginald VelJohnson as Sergeant Al Powell. Paul Gleason, funny as Dwayne Robertson. William Atherton. I thought he was just a well, he did it. He's a douchebag, but I thought he played him off well. Which he would be coming back in Die Hard 2. What was the name? Alexander Godunov as Carl. He was a memorable henchman as well. Yeah, the love the fun, love the fight scenes, love the action scenes, love it. Memorable lines of dialogue, great action, very well fast paced. Even for an over 2 hour film, it's still fast paced. I always enjoy the score by Michael Kamen, and actually really love this by the cinematography. It's by Jan de Bont before he goes and direct Speed and Twister, and the script. I gotta give credit to the people who did the script by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D. Souza, and of course, there's also a film produced by Joel Silver as well. But the directing by John Mctiernan, phenomenal, directed by John Mctiernan. What else is there? I'm just it is the film still gets praised. Why not just go and give it more praise as well? Yeah, people say it's a Christmas movie. It takes place around Christmas time. So yeah, people say it's a Christmas action film. It's an action film that's a Christmas film at the same time. So that's why, well, a lot of people would say it is considered a Christmas movie because it is around the Christmas time. So it is considered a Christmas movie. But it's just so fun, entertaining, just memorable, classic, an action masterpiece, I would say. Yeah, I personally have no problems with this film because it'll always forever remain one of the best action films of all time, a classic, masterpiece. I could just watch this over and over again. But yeah, I grew up with the movie. It's always been memorable to me, and a legacy that has led with greats. Well, till A Good Day to Die Hard though, but love Die Hard 2, love Die Hard 3. Live Fear Die Hard is also a really good sequel as well. But A Good Day to Die Hard, yeah. But the whole cast does a very good job. Love the effects. Not everything was a bunch of CG. Now how it is nowadays. It was not all green screen. But I just know if it wasn't for Bruce Willis, I don't know how different would the Die Hard films would be. That's why I'm glad it was Bruce Willis who got the starring role for this. Don't want to try not to miss anything, but I don't know more to say. I know that I'm saying that everybody knows about this movie and pretty much have told the same thing that I have, but I just want to give my own take on it because I love the movie to death. It deserves the praise it got. But it always will be a classic. So yeah, and I will review the sequel sometime down the road though. But just want to stick with this one because considering for the Christmas stuff it's been going on. So, but for now, this one, the first Die Hard, I love. Pretty sure everyone loves the movie. Like I said, I'm just repeating myself, so I'll just end right here. So that's my review for the absolute classic Die Hard. One of the best action films of all time. 2 thumbs up. Hands down. Just fantastic all around. But that's my review for Die Hard. And Alan Rickman, may he rest in peace. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned on the next movie review. And we'll see you later.